Hi, I'm Gino Buccola here, and we have a race preview for you. A big race coming up this weekend over at Gulfstream Park. It's the Wildcat Red handicap. It's going to go as race number 12. Why this one's important, there's going to be a mandatory payout in the Rainbow Pick 6 this weekend. So races 12 and 13, those are the final races on the card. A couple stakes races that you'll really want to make sure that you've got covered when you're putting your tickets together. Let's take a look at the field for the Wildcat Red, where we'll have Black Belt taking a lot of money from the inside, coming out of some strong races with good buyer speed figures. So he'll be the horse to beat. And I think some of it has to do with the fact that he's probably the controlling speed of the race, or the major pace factor, meaning he can get to the lead or he can sit just behind. Bobby here, our producer today, can pull up the Timeform US pace projector for us as we take a look with Black Belt right up front. That's not surprising. I think from the inside, he will probably try to hold that position, but he could have some company with horses like the 5, Love Me Not. The real wild card in the race to me is the 3, Ticking. What do they choose to do? Another horse like Positive Review. This one could be forwardly placed. Even the 8, Sir Saffer, wants to sit close. So I think you have a lot of horses who have that tracking style, not necessarily a bunch of need the lead speed demons. Sometimes that can make the race a little more contentious when you have all these horses kind of looking for the same spot, jockeying for that same position. So now let's take a look at the field. Let's go horse by horse through this one. And let's start from the inside with the number 1, Black Belt, who he's just a horse to beat. You look at his recent form. From September to February, he had 5 straight really nice races where he's just improving on the buyer's speed figure scale from 88 to 91 to 97. He has a couple really big performances. When you're just using speed figures, he has 2 buyers in his career of 97, and nobody else in the field has a buyer speed figure of over 93. So he does stand out on paper. He has a tactical advantage. All 7 of his wins have been right here at Gulfstream Park, and 4 of them at a mile. So now he's coming home to Gulfstream after going over to Fairgrounds and taking a shot in the New Orleans. He was in good form. He had tactical speed. They figured, let's just take a shot against Graded Stakes Company that might not be the toughest race in the world. And now you get the opportunity to come back here, kind of start over. 2 starts back on February the 17th. That was the race that we took a look at, where Black Belt was able to just sit close right here. Black Belt moving to the lead and then putting them away, right? And with his running style, it's so difficult to knock his chances of running a big race in here. Maybe you have a horse that you think can beat him on the win end, but you feel like he's going to save ground, and just like we saw right there at the top of the lane, he's going to be in contention. So he's a really tough horse to leave out of any of your exotics in here, because the race really should go through him. I mean, he beat logical, talented horses like Lure Him In and Instant Coffee. Instant Coffee is a multiple graded stakes winner. Lure Him In came back to win the Sunshine Million Classic. So I just don't have too many knocks on the number 1, Black Belt, perhaps the price, which will be pretty short in here. We move next door to the 2, Copper Master. He was a winner 2 starts back for $35,000 restricted claimers. And I think to me that just kind of shows that he might be in a little bit tough here. He faced a first level allowance group in his most recent start. He was 3rd that day. He's just not all that fast early. Positive, all 3 of his wins have come right here at Gulfstream Park, and he is proven at a mile, but I'll be going elsewhere in here as we move to the number 3, Ticking. If you're looking for some value in this race, this could be the horse. His last 2 races on paper don't look that great, but both of them are in stakes races, and he actually loomed up in both of those races a little more into contention than it may look. He ran a big race in January, making his first start at 4, lightly raced. He's got some upside in here. And if you're just looking at that January race and then he took a few months off, can he get back to that spot? What I like, he has a ceiling. There's an upside with him that a lot of these other horses haven't hit. So can they be more forwardly placed? With a good start, he sat 3rd. He was close up last time out. He lost to a horse named Octane. Octane, who won that race, earned 100 buyer speed figure. That's a graded stakes winner in Octane, who won the big drama with that 100 buyer. There's not that much real fast early speed. So if a horse like Ticking wanted to take the initiative and get aggressive, I think this is how Ticking could really outrun his odds in here. I think I'm going to end up picking Ticking in the third spot because he could be forwardly placed. He could hang around for a slice in here. Let's move to the daddy, the Sha Diesel. As a Laker fan, I love Sha Diesel, the most dominant ever, the big man. You can't guard him. You can't stop Shaq. I'll keep running off with more Laker puns every time I see Sha Diesel running, and I like him quite a bit in this spot. I think it's just a perfect class level for him. It seems like when Shaq steps up and faces the graded stakes company, it's like a little too tough for him. But right here at this high level allowance level or maybe a low level stakes group like we have, I think it's a perfect spot for Sha Diesel because you get a very similar race from him almost every single time. If you're looking at the speed figures, he's ultra consistent. And from a running style standpoint, you know what you're going to get from him. He will come running late. He's a deeper closer. And we can show you a backtrack of Sha Diesel. This one is back on April the 20th. And the reason why I wanted to show this race is because it was kind of a comparable field here. And he comes from way out of this race. You see Shaq, he's coming from way out of it here to get the job done. Sha Diesel moving by at the top of the lane. He was still 7th, 8th in here. And you see the Shaq daddy going by late. So again, for him, pretty simple. How does this race shape up? If black belt's out there on the front end cruising, or if there's not a real contested pace, it will probably be difficult for Sha Diesel. But if we can get the one black belt with Ticking, with Love Me Not, with Possible Review, combinations of these 4 to 5 horses all jockeying for position, I think it should set up very well for Sha Diesel. This field just feels like the type of field he can get the better of. I'm going to put him on top, and we'll talk more about him when we finish up with the selections at the end. We move to Love Me Not. 3 of the 4 wins have been on turf for Love Me Not. I'm expecting some speed from him. I thought his effort back on March the 10th at Tampa was pretty good. And I think that's probably why they come back here again with him, because he's shown more turf form overall, but in a race that was taken off the turf and it was on the dirt, he sat a pretty nice trip and won. So why not go back to that surface again where you've performed well and see if that can shake you up a little bit. I'm a little bit cold on Love Me Not in here just based on the trip that he could sit and thinking that he's a little bit more of a turf horse. Right next door is Positive Review, who was your 3 to 5 favorite on April the 20th, most recently at Gulfstream Park when he lost to a horse named Sir Saffer, who's actually the 8 horse in this same field, drawn to the outside. Positive Review is probably best going a little bit shorter than the mile. And I think he's probably better when he's sitting really closer on the lead. So if it were me, those would be the tactics I would choose for Positive Review to try to get aggressive with this one. He was defeated by Black Belt a few starts back. He was defeated by Sir Saffer in his last start. So he's going to have to turn the tables on a couple of these common rivals among others in here. So more of a horse to use underneath, I think, as we move to Lord Miles. This is probably the most well-known horse in this race, and Lord Miles was your Grade 2 Wood Memorial winner back in 2023. Problem is he just has not performed all that well or progressed and taken the steps forward since that race. And he just doesn't have that much early or tactical speed. So the race is usually kind of up to the running style of others and how it's going to impact his chances of winning the race. He has 8 months off. He raced and then he didn't show anything. And then you have a couple months off after that. Not necessarily a positive sign. But you do get Drayden Van Dyke jumping aboard for Safety Joseph Jr., and we're going to see that coming up now at Gulfstream Park a little more often. Drayden's done a really nice job. Safety talked about how he just wanted to bring Drayden Van Dyke over to ride a lot of horses for him. That will probably be horses in spots just like this, where if, maybe Joseph has a couple runners, I think we're going to see that in the 13th race at Gulfstream Park, and he would look for someone else to put on one of his stakes caliber horses. So Drayden Van Dyke, who's been struggling in Southern California, gets an opportunity to head over to Gulfstream Park and pick up some really live mounts. Let's round out the field with Sir Saffer. I really don't have any knocks on that April 20th race. I thought it was a pretty good performance that day. He defeated a common rival in that one. He got the better of the much shorter price of Positive Review. His best races, Sir Saffer, are when he's close up. I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to get as close because he's not necessarily as fast as some of the others. He could get hooked a little wide in here. Lost to a horse named Fly the W last time, who was an 18-time winner. So I'm very impressed with some of the company he's been keeping, and his races at 1 mile on the dirt are pretty good. So I have him in the tier just below. I wouldn't be shocked to see him run really well in here. Let's put a bow on race number 12 at Gulfstream Park. Let's take a look at the selections, and we will get to the number 4. That's going to be Sha Diesel. That's my top pick in here. Just thinking that he fits so well at the level, and he could get a nice trip if someone or a couple of these others can put a little pressure on Black Belt. That's the one, Black Belt. He's hands down the horse they're all going to have to beat in here. I think if you're looking for a little bit of value, why not the 3 Ticking, who can be forwardly placed and probably outrun his odds? From the outside, you'll get the 8 Sir Saffer, who should sit a very nice trip there and should be in the mix throughout. So good luck to everyone on a big Saturday at Gulfstream Park with lots of money up for grabs in that Rainbow Pick 6. Hopefully we helped lead you in the right direction here. And a big shout out to Bobby, new producer over at DRF, who's doing a fantastic job helping out with these videos and becoming a big part of the team. So wish you the best of luck in race 12 on Saturday at Gulfstream Park.